Hello and welcome to Never Seen It, a podcast about movies we haven't seen yet. I'm your host today, Betsy, and with me as always is my co-host and my husband. It's Trent.
Always.
Always. I would be a lunatic in my basement by myself if you weren't here.
Also, I have to press the buttons over here.
You do. You are the audio guy. I don't know how this works. I'm just here for the fun.
Yeah.
Today we are continuing our journey through the decades. We have made it to the year that we have mentioned many, many, many times on this podcast if you've been listening.
Yeah.
We are at 2002.
A year that will be forever infamous on this podcast.
We have spoken of this many times. For some reason, when we were but 17 years old, we had lots going on in our lives and ignored all movies.
Apparently so.
Practically from this particular year. And so we are making up for it by watching all of them on this podcast.
Apparently there were a lot of important movies or movies that we may have been interested in or just movies in general. We don't know.
It just keeps happening. So that may be the reason we are here once again in 2002.
Maybe we were just too preoccupied with Hobbits. And
maybe,
all of that stuff. Like
maybe.
That just kind of completely took us. And didn't episode 2 come out in 2002?
Yeah, there was like a Spider-Man.
Yeah, we had too many big epics to take up our time. But
right.
Yeah.
Speaking of epics, today's movie is 2002's Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
So I have seen this movie one whole time. Trent, you have never watched this movie.
No. And for someone who really likes The Departed, and I thought The Irishman was pretty good, I haven't really seen a lot of Scorsese movies.
But this is kind of in that sweet spot around The Departed.
Yeah.
Where you would think if he was making that a few years after this one, this might be something you'd like.
And I never really looked into it. Because Scorsese is one of these legendary directors that you should probably look into more. I just never have.
And this is another one where it's 3 hours long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is going to be another journey for us. And we were talking about the movies that we've been watching for this series being significant to the time that they came out. This is kind of the odd man out for what we have watched so far because it is set in a time that is not 2002.
That is very true. There are gangs in New York in 2002, but this is not what this is.
However, we ultimately picked this one because this is one of the Best Picture nominees from this year.
Yeah.
And this is back in the days where the Academy Awards only had 5. So they narrowed it down to 5 Best Picture nominees. This is one of them. So it was a big movie. It's a big director, major cast. It was very successful. And it's not one either of us has had a lot of experience watching.
Yeah, and I've wanted to go back and watch some Scorsese movies. We've got a couple in the can for later that we'll end up doing, but this seems like a good one to throw in for 2002. If for nothing else, the early 2000s was the renaissance of the big epics.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, we covered Gladiator a month or two ago. That was the big thing that brought it all back. Because after that, we had The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring coming out in 2001. And from there, the floodgates were open. You got things like, was it the Alexander movie?
Oh, yeah, you had that. You had Troy.
Yeah, Troy was the other one I was thinking of, yeah. All of these big epics started to come out again. And yeah, Gangs of New York is, again, almost a 3-hour movie. It's a big budget thing, a lot of big actors. And the difference is you didn't get any of those big name actors in all of these other epics. So maybe this is the difference.
At the time, a lot of those actors that were in there, with the exception of probably Brad Pitt, they were not major stars. Colin Farrell was not a major star when that came out.
But he was very much on the up-and-coming list.
Yep, he was an up-and-comer. Angelina Jolie's in one of those. She was an up-and-comer.
Yeah.
So those were those movies. But there's a big cast in this movie, Gangs of New York. So who do you know that is in this film?
So it's the biggest name is Daniel Day-Lewis, who I believe has won for almost every single acting role that he's ever done. I don't think he won for this one, though.
So he has won 3 times.
Okay.
I believe. He won for My Left Foot, he won for Lincoln, and he won for...
Phantom Thread.
No, not Phantom Thread. The There Will Be Blood.
Oh.
Yeah, he got nominated for Phantom Thread.
Okay. Well,
So
that was also his last one.
Right.
So,
it would have been a big deal had he won for his last movie, because dude's retired now.
Also, go watch Phantom Thread. It's incredible.
It's weird and wonderful.
Yes.
I love it. So yes, he's the star. Who else do you know that is in this movie?
DiCaprio is I think, what is it, his second or first time with Scorsese?
Oh, that's a great little bit of trivia. This might be his first time with Scorsese.
Yeah, because
first
didn't
of like
he do,
6.
Didn't he do like that beach movie or something with him?
Was The Beach a Scorsese movie?
I don't know.
I don't think it was.
I know
But
he
maybe
did something else around the same
produced
time.
it or something.
I don't know, but I know that Scorsese really started to be infatuated with having DiCaprio in his stuff.
Well, and he did The Aviator not that long after this one.
Yep, and he also did Wolf of Wall Street
Years later.
and years later, bringing him back as the main actor.
Yep, and they did Shutter Island together. This is
That's
kind of
the one.
That's
the one.
They did a lot of movies in the early to mid aughts.
Yeah, not Beaches. The Beach.
Beaches.
Not the Bette Midler movie.
Directed by Martin Scorsese.
No, that is not what I'm talking about. Anyway, yes, DiCaprio's in this.
A star on the rise.
Yeah, Cameron Diaz, I believe,
is in this movie.
Oh, God. I'm sure a lot more. I can't pull them out of my head right now.
There are some very big names that you will absolutely recognize.
I'm sure.
I'm going to throw one out because I was doing a little reading before we began, and this is purely unintentional.
All right.
Henry Thomas is in this movie, and that name might not immediately stand out to you.
It does not.
His face is not going to look totally familiar. He's the kid from E.T. He is grown up in this movie.
What the fuck?
This was not intentional.
What the fuck?
I had no idea. But yes, this kid got to work with Steven Spielberg as a child, and then he grew up 20 years later. And in the same series that we are doing,
my little mind is blown.
This kid is a grown-ass man in Gangs of New York.
All right.
So I'll point him out to you when I see him.
Did you know this beforehand?
I did not know this at all. And I don't know if I would be able to pick him out on the screen or not, because I haven't seen this movie in many, many years.
All right.
But I wanted to make sure we were looking for it.
All right.
Just given the fact that we included that in this series, and of all the people to show up in the same series twice, that is not who I was expecting.
No, not at all. And we kind of made a point to make sure that all of these movies were very different.
Were unique unto themselves.
Even like very different genres.
Yes.
Like almost every movie we are doing here is different genres by choice.
By choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird fluke, so you have that to look forward to.
All right.
But I don't expect you to recognize him because he was a kid and now he's an adult. So that's why I mention it.
Okay.
But do you know anything about the plot of this movie?
I kind of don't. So I know it is set in the 1860s, I believe.
I have no idea.
In New York City.
It's the 1800s.
Yeah, it's mid to late 1800s in New York City, where New York is kind of a modern town, still kind of a dirty town. It's certainly not modern times yet. It's still on the come up.
Okay.
As being like a major city, but as far as like what this is about plot wise, I don't have a clue. So, and the only context I have for this movie is we've probably mentioned this guy before. There's a guy named Eric Singer. He is a dialect coach who does YouTube videos. And he works with actors. He works with people who are trying to learn accents and whatnot. And he does a YouTube series where he looks at movies where actors are doing real accents or they are impersonating a real person. In this case, there was a little clip of him critiquing Daniel Day-Lewis's accent. But the issue about that is that in this era, whenever this era is, nobody really knows how New Yorkers talked. So Daniel Day-Lewis is kind of doing his own thing based on his own research.
He kind of made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a mixture of, it's probably an amalgamation of all of the different like New England accents put into one, is my guess.
It would be more European because it was a newer country and there's still a lot of immigrants coming in.
Sure. And who knows where this character is from. Again, I don't know what this character is or what this is about at all.
You could take a guess.
Oh, is it about gangs?
That specifically?
Are they in New York?
It's possible, Trent.
Wow.
I thought you were going to bring up the thing we were talking about before we began recording. It's about top hats.
That too, yes. Daniel Day-Lewis and his love of top hats in movies.
Very large top hat. It's very big in this one.
Yes, yes.
But let's go see it. We're going to see his big top hat and the gangs of New York in the 2002 movie Gangs of New York right now, and we'll be right back. And we're back. All right, so another movie from 2002, finally off of our list, our endless list.
Yeah.
Trent, what did you think of Gangs of New York?
I got some mixed feelings about this one. I think I enjoyed it in the end, but it was kind of a mess.
Okay.
From the beginning. It is really long. And it's not in a good way where like, oh man, there's so much here.
Everything is necessary. I need it. Don't cut anything.
Yeah, it's not that. It is really not that. And I think acting-wise, I think every individual character and actor is doing their part, but as a whole, there's no cohesiveness around any of it. So I think I did enjoy it as an overall story and movie. I think it's a good not even a redemption story. It is a good like revenge story, but the ending is completely anticlimactic. He's trying to weave in like real events with what happened here. And I understand, you just looked this up. This is based on a real story?
So to speak, like the riots were real.
Yeah. The riots absolutely were real.
William Cuddington was real, but this and the dead rabbits, all of these things are real things, but they are selectively altered for the purposes of this film.
He's sewn a thread through a few different
real events.
Yeah.
And real people. But the real guy was dead 7 years before this movie takes place. So it's not a real specific event.
Yeah, he's weaving a story around a bunch of different events that actually happened. And that's cool. I get that. I would have rather he present the real events as something that was happening at the same time instead of just throwing it in at the end.
Right. So I didn't say this in the introduction. I did mention I had seen this movie once.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like this movie the first time I watched it. I didn't remember anything about this movie. Yeah. If I'm being completely honest, watching this today, I'm like, I don't remember any of this.
I understand you not remembering it, but
usually that implies I didn't like it very much or I wasn't paying much attention, which is why I wanted to watch it as part of this series.
Yeah, and it's kind of a hard watch.
Yes, it is. And I think I actually liked it better the second time. So yeah, I found with Martin Scorsese in particular, sometimes that's the case. I didn't like The Departed the first time I watched it. Yeah. But once I saw it and it made cohesive sense and I knew what to expect and I could appreciate it more, then I liked it more. This one, I don't know if that's going to be the case because the first 2/3, I feel like were actually pretty strong. Like, yes, there's a lot going on and there's a lot of like, here's 45 gangs that you don't actually need to know the names of. It's not important. And it's like, okay, here's the guy. He's coming back. He's going to get revenge. And then he fails.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's going to be gearing up the Irish for a revolution in New York.
And it doesn't
then
happen.
it turns into a story about the riots.
Right.
Which is a real event, which is fine, but it comes so out of left field.
Yeah, the ending isn't earned.
No, it just shifts completely to being a story about elections and riots.
Right. It's
instead of a revenge tale.
It's the draft riots of 1863, which really happened in Manhattan, where the army had to be called up and 120 people died.
Right. So it's just a weird turn of events. And I would rather he not have made that kind of the focal point of the end of the movie. And like the whole scene with the elections, like it just, what was that? You had to like pause the movie to take some notes because you were like, everything is happening so fast and I don't know what's going on.
There's so much happening. I cannot take it all in. But in the end, none of it actually mattered.
And none of it mattered because they finally have their big, challenge. He challenges Bill to a final battle in the street.
We think there's going to be another final battle like we had at the very beginning of the movie with
movie
Liam
opens.
Neeson. And we don't get it. We are cheated out of that because of how he decided to end the movie.
Because the riots are happening and that takes over the focus. And so the army is blowing up the city.
And it is a good distraction away from whatever is going on over here. That would have been a great juxtaposition to have the army fighting with the rioters, and then over on the side we get these other two gangs fighting it out.
Two completely
separate things, and you could do the Ang Lee Hulk movie where you have the different like scenes on the screen of a fight happening over here and then cut over here and cut over there. It could have been a good filmmaking project, but we didn't get that.
Yeah. So I think we're pretty much on the same page. There's a lot of really good stuff, really interesting stuff about this movie, so I understand why it got nominated. Here's an interesting fact about this, and I pointed this out to you a couple days ago as we were preparing for this episode.
Okay.
I brought it up in the intro. This movie was one of the 5 Best Picture nominees for 2002.
Yeah.
It lost to Chicago, which is weirdly another movie that John C. Reilly was in that year. So he was in 2 of the Best Picture nominees, ultimately in the one that won. This movie was nominated for 10 total Academy Awards, and this movie won nothing.
Nothing.
That does not really happen anymore. Because they've diversified the categories and how the voting works, it's pretty rare that movies win nothing. It's usually movies get nominated for a bunch and everybody wins something. It feels like now nobody sweeps. Since they changed the rules and they broadened categories, nobody sweeps. So in 2002, people were still sweeping. This is the kind of movie that was like teed up to just win everything.
Right.
And it won nothing.
Presented it like it's another Gladiator or A Beautiful Mind or whatever else. It's going to win all of these acting and technical and Best Picture and directing, everything.
Daniel Day-Lewis already had an Academy Award, and he's amazing in this movie. This is an incredible character.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't think had been nominated yet, but he was very much on the docket. He was kind of on deck to be nominated at least. You've got Liam Neeson, who had been nominated. You've got Brendan Gleeson, who's never been nominated, but he's an incredible actor, and I think he's woefully underutilized. Maybe this will be his year, but that's a different conversation for another day.
All right.
You've got Cameron Diaz, who's a huge star at this time. You've got Martin Scorsese, who has been like hitting it out of the park for 20 years at this point, and hadn't won. He had not won. This is pre-Departed.
Yeah.
There's all these things going in its favor. But people just wanted the happy musical. And I wouldn't even call it a happy musical, but the musical, the shiny, bright thing, as opposed to this bloody revenge tale historical drama.
Right. And a movie that came out in 2002. What happened in New York the previous year?
Yeah, people weren't ready for this movie in 2002. No. I think that's probably what sunk this.
Maybe.
Is people would much rather watch a revenge movie about, that's a musical.
Maybe. I don't really know anything about Chicago, but or even the other movies that came out in 2002. But
off the top of my head, I don't even know what else was nominated, but I do know in 2002 that's what would have won.
But yeah, as far as like this winning anything, I can't really put my finger on anybody in particular or anything in particular that would stand out to me, except maybe the costumes.
God, they were great.
Yeah.
Like, these were just, they were colorful.
Yeah.
But also filthy.
Yeah, they were period appropriate
and
like
setting extras. There's so many goddamn extras in this movie.
Yeah, and I think this is very much one of Scorsese's, if not the biggest cast. It might be the biggest cast he's done.
I would bet that's true.
Maybe Wolf of Wall Street would come up pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Because like think about the office scenes where it is just chaos.
Or the parties. There's a lot of parties.
The parties, yeah. But yeah, the chaos that he has to film there is just ridiculous.
Well, there's a lot of chaos in this movie.
Yeah.
Like this is just...
It's more controlled chaos.
It is.
But yeah.
So you wanted to talk about a couple of elements from this movie, specifically regarding the chaos. So at the very beginning of the movie, the opening sequence, we're setting up, it's 1846 or something.
Yeah.
But they don't say that right away. We're introduced to Liam Neeson, who's only in this opening part of the movie. Mm-hmm. He is a character called Priest.
Yep.
And he is the leader of the Irish gang, the Dead Rabbits. And they're having this big battle of the Irish gang versus the native New Yorkers.
Right. He has basically a coalition of his group, the Dead Rabbits, amongst all of the other immigrant groups from this part of Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And they're all coming together because they're trying to divide up this area, this territory, and whoever wins gets to keep it.
Yep, they get to be the boss, so to speak.
Yeah.
At a time where immigration was really starting to pick up, because this is like the Irish potato famine.
Yeah.
This is when everything really started, like the American industry. Mm-hmm. This was the time, the tipping point. And Americans who were born and raised here weren't interested in immigration.
Well, and in the North, like things like slavery started to become outlawed. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until Lincoln came about later on in the movie section where like one of the first scenes after Leo comes back to New York where Lincoln has signed the Emancipation Proclamation and all slaves are freed in the North, if there are any left. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a time of great strife. And there's a lot of people, even if they're in the North, who do not agree with all of these things.
Right, and they're dealing with...
As evidenced by all this stuff that is happening.
They're dealing with that plus all of these other people coming in on their territory, so to speak.
And New York is just the landing zone of all of these different groups coming in, and continues to be.
Mm-hmm. So they decide to battle it out, and we've got a little boy who we kind of presume, and we find out later, is in fact Leonardo DiCaprio's character.
I called that, of course, that's going to be him.
Of course. And so they set this up, and here's these two gangs. One is covered in rabbit pelts, one is in blue sashes and regulation top hats.
Yes, those are standard issue.
Standard issue. They must meet a certain criteria, size, with specifically height.
Well, Daniel Day-Lewis has to have the highest one.
Right. He is the boss.
By the rank.
Yes.
He has to have the highest one. But no, the thing that I was pointing out, and I had no idea this is where this is from because this is the first time I've seen this movie. It's just Anchorman.
Right.
It's the end of Anchorman. And if you haven't seen either of the Anchorman movies, at the end of each Anchorman movie...
Well, like the middle third somewhere. Or
whatever.
End third.
Whatever. It's the last third of the movie. There is a fight. And it is a fight amongst factions. And
the news anchors all come out.
The news anchors all come out.
Yeah, in this movie, it starts with, here's the Dead Rabbits, and they're like, well, no, it's not just us. We've brought all these people. And it's like, the Bowery Boys, and these groups, and the Slaughterhouse, and these, and there's just like group after group after group.
Yeah, they all keep getting introduced, and in the Anchorman movies, it's the same thing.
And I hadn't really...
the fucking Canadian anchors, it's the ESPN anchors.
Spanish news, Telemundo. random.
Yeah, it's almost shot for shot. And even Liam Neeson shows up in one of those movies.
Oh, no, genuinely, it is some of the same shots. Like, I was watching this. Once you pointed that out, I hadn't thought about it because this movie came out in 2002. Anchorman came out in 2003, 4?
4, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so that was clearly intentional, where they all come out and they're just like, public broadcasting and Channel 11 and Channel 4, you know? And there were literally angles in this movie that Adam McKay recreated in Anchorman. I am not even kidding you. Like the weird, like slow motion, like a guy gets an axe in the back and he kind of turns around dramatically.
Yeah.
That is absolutely in Anchorman.
Oh, that's amazing.
We're going to go after we're done with this and we're going to watch that scene in the first Anchorman movie and you will see what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But I hadn't considered it and you started giggling and I was like, why are you laughing? And you said, it's Anchorman. Fuck, it is Anchorman. That was not a mistake. So yeah, there you go. Cultural moment of the early 2000s and the impact of this movie in particular.
Thank you, Adam McKay, for that.
Thank you, Adam McKay, for that. So that's how we start this movie. And little Leonardo DiCaprio's character is sent away to the Hell Gates, like school.
Yeah, it's like a boarding school, but it's also a jail.
It's like a religious jail for young, troubled youths.
Youngsters.
And he immediately, once he is let loose 16 years later,
he graduates.
He's freed from this program. He chucks the Bible that he's handed
he has
in
issued
the river.
his standard issue Bible, and he chucks it off the bridge as he enters Manhattan again.
Yeah, he's been given a speech about, letting things go, and he's like, sure. And he immediately sets on his path for vengeance. And then we spend a great deal of time where he is just sort of working for Bill.
Yeah.
Bill the Butcher, the man who killed his father.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I get this, it's enemies close, or friends close, enemies closer sort of a situation. And there's only one guy here who flags him, who knows this is the priest's son.
Yeah.
And there's one other guy, but he doesn't really let this be known until much later in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of a whole lot of, this is how terrible New York is. And everybody is in each other's faces. And it's filthy. And we love a good fire.
and public executions on the hour.
Right. And it's a horrible cesspool. And there's a line in there where Leonardo DiCaprio's character says something about, you wouldn't exactly call this a city. This is more like a furnace that could, a forge, I think he said, that could one day create a city.
Right.
Because there's so much chaos.
It's being created as they're living it.
Yeah.
Like, there's really nothing here. They kind of have to, honestly, at the end of the movie, that's kind of the catalyst to make Manhattan anyway, the city that it becomes.
To unify it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good at setting up the structure. Like, this is the part I actually liked where they're like, it's just chaos. There's 2 different police forces. There's 35 different units of volunteer firemen, and they all hate each other. Right. Even the firemen and the police are gangs that rival each other.
Yeah.
And when there's actually something to be done, so like there's a fire, a building is on fire, and 2 different brigades of firemen show up, and instead of putting out the fire, they're having a philosophical debate about whose job it is to put out this fire.
Right. You're there. What are you doing?
Meanwhile, the house is being ransacked.
Right.
Because everybody knows, hey, get while the getting's good. Everyone's dirt poor.
Right. And the people who are going to gain from this, including the police, have an interest in letting that building burn at least a little while, while it's being looted and getting all the loot out.
And once they finally decide it's not worth it, they're like, best focus on the house next door, which is not on fire and is not about to be on fire. They just start looting that house.
Well, that one's going to be on fire soon because we're not putting this one out.
Yeah, so there is no law, no order. The closest thing to order are these gangs, specifically Bill, because he is this dude who has just sort of taken control of this one section of Lower Manhattan.
Yeah.
The 5 Points area. And it's a real area, and these are real people.
And Betsy and I probably walked through that
I'm
area
sure.
a few years ago when we went to New York, and we wouldn't have known.
No. And I think where this movie is probably coming from is, if anybody knows about this stuff, it's people who live in New York and grew up in New York. So, of course, Martin Scorsese is the guy who's going to make a movie about it.
Of course.
But it means a lot more to him than it means to me. So, like, they're talking about Tammany Hall and Tweed. These are words I've heard.
Yeah, names I've heard before, but I don't know what they are in context. Like, Tammany Hall was basically a faction of the Democratic Party of the time that was... In this movie, they're trying to court the vote of the Irish. And I guess, according to the movie, when you get off the boat, you sign a paper, you're a citizen, but then again, you also have to put your service towards the military.
That was kind of two different issues, I think, happening there. So, yeah, there's one scene where Tweed is hanging out by the docks, welcoming the Irish off the boat because he's basically courting voters.
Sure, he's giving them food.
Remember me, I'm the good guy, we're the good guys, we fed you, we clothed you, here's a place you can go stay, welcome to America.
Remember the name when voting comes around, and I guess you can vote in this time without being a citizen, or maybe you are granted citizenship when you get off the boat. I really do not know how that happened.
I think it's, again, pretty fast and loose, because when they finally get to the election, they're shaving guys' beards and sending them back a second or third time.
Yeah, like we're running out of ballots.
There's more votes than there are
ballots.
Voters.
And that's nothing really to really hang your hat on as far as the democratic process. It was also like almost 200 years ago.
Right. So there's that scene, but then there's also this background information about it's the Civil War. And
it is the beginnings of the Civil War,
And they are sending home bodies in caskets. Every boat is unloading dead bodies, and they're running out of soldiers for the North, which is why they're talking about a draft. And so you see a lot of these recruiters and saying, you're going to be drafted, and when that comes, you're going to have $300 or you're going to fight.
Right. And I like the scene where nearing the end of the movie where the people were coming off the boat, the Irish people coming off the boat. Yes, the second scene where people are coming off. They have the table set up. Sign here. You'll get 3 square meals a day.
Well, first you signed to be an American citizen.
Yes.
You just signed a piece of paper, and congratulations, you're an American.
And if you don't have the $300, you're going to be drafted anyway. So you might as well just sign up right now and take your shit and get onto this other boat while they are unloading the caskets of the dead soldiers coming home.
Right. And this is all one single shot. Did you notice that?
I did notice that, yeah.
So they're getting off the boat, and they're all in their rags, and they go sign their paper. They get in the uniform. They turn right back around and get on the next boat going to the south to fight.
Next to the other boat.
Literally right next door.
Yeah.
So there's structurally a lot setting up what is going on here, why we should worry about the final events. It loses me, and I think it lost you too, where it just sort of changes course very quickly.
Yeah.
So they have a big celebration every year where Bill honors Priest, the guy he killed, because he was the last good man. And I don't even know what Leonardo DiCaprio's character was called, because they call him Amsterdam, but his last name is Valen. But does he have a first name?
I don't know. He is credited as Amsterdam, so that's what people call him.
I don't know what the fuck his name is. Anyway, see, I watched a almost 3-hour movie, and I don't have any clue.
Yeah.
So he has this big plot that on that day, out in public, he is going to kill Bill.
Yeah.
Different movie. Also from the 2002 area. Little early.
Yes.
And when they get there, he's already been ratted out by his friend, who's all butthurt because he didn't get the girl he wanted.
Yeah.
And Leo did.
Johnny.
So
and
Johnny,
by the way, he's the E.T. kid.
Johnny is the E.T. kid. So Johnny rats him out to Bill. Bill is prepared to be attacked. Bill beats the shit out of him. And instead of turning into I'm gonna get mine, let's have a big revenge tale, all of a sudden it turns into we're gonna have an election, and Tweed is after the Irish vote, so he's courting his character.
Well, and the Tweed guy basically can't trust Bill anymore because Bill is becoming a lot more hostile towards the Irish, and he can't count on them to get out the vote for him. So who can he count on? He can count on Leo's character.
Right. And again, it's just sort of quickly happening and shifting in this direction. So it's like, wait, what's happening?
This entire sequence where they're like, all of a sudden building up the church again. What was that about? We get the confrontation with the other guy from The Departed that shows up and is yelling about the black person in the church. Yeah. Why did that go on there? I just don't understand the sequence of events here that had nothing to do with the overall story. All they're really doing here is saying Amsterdam is creating a coalition of the Irish people in the
He's lighting the spark for the revolution, as it were.
Kind of.
Which I could totally be on board with, and I would have been excited if there was like another big battle. But they started with a big battle, and I guess they didn't want to finish with one.
And they teased one.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. Like the night scene where we have the two groups coming together, Bill's group meets the other group, and it's a huge group that they come across.
And they're all standing in front of the church holding candles, like blocking their way in.
Yeah, they're holding candles. There's a bunch of women and children in the crowd.
Yep.
And Bill notices this, and they say, okay, when you're actually ready for a rumble, let's reschedule this.
Yeah, there was no dance fighting in this movie.
Seriously, Betsy. And for the first fight with Liam Neeson, when they were all coming together, it's a fucking gang fight in New York. I said to Betsy, if they start singing about a rumble, I'm turning this off.
There was very little music. There was one woman singing like in her Irish brogue in the street, and there's
a few different people who are just singing in like the butcher area, the bar area, outside. There's just that's about the only music there is.
Right.
And during the dance, I guess.
Right. And like we said, at the end of the movie, it just turns into I didn't catch the guy's MacGuffin. I don't know what his name was. The dude with the club.
Yeah. The shillelagh.
He's shown the what now?
The shillelagh?
Is that what that's called?
Sure. It's an Irish thing.
I've never heard that word before.
Really?
A shillelagh?
Yeah.
No, that one I didn't know.
All right.
I've heard Shlanta, which they say, which is basically their version of Cheers.
Yeah.
They used that in this movie, but no, a shillelagh, that's not ringing a bell. Or if it was, I've forgotten it. Anyway. So club guy, Brendan Gleeson, they convince Tweed to run him for sheriff.
Yeah.
And so
they're like negotiating, okay, what office could we run one of the Irish people as? And this guy's been in the community for decades, probably. Everybody knows him. He's probably going to get elected if all of the Irish people can get behind him.
And everybody knows he's never really joined a gang. Like they show him at the beginning. He'll participate for a price, but he's never just going to join on his belief system.
Sure.
So he's a great candidate for that reason because he can go out and be like, I'm fighting for me and I'm fighting for you.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about these gangs. And he wins, and Bill kills him cold dead in the street.
Yeah, he throws
in broad daylight.
He cleavers him to death.
Well, yeah, first he throws a meat cleaver into his back.
Yeah.
Then he clubs him to death.
Yes.
So that's cool. And that starts the challenge. Then it just turns into the riots. So just when they're like meeting in the street, there's all these shots of here's what's going on at this intersection in New York and this intersection as it's kind of working its way uptown.
And that was a cool scene, especially if you know where these streets or these intersections are.
Yep, and they're showing like rich people being terrorized in their homes.
I clapped during that scene.
The 1% is not too concerned about the draft. Why should we worry? Our boys won't be going.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, the poor people are like, fuck the rich.
Fuck that. Let the rich send their sons off to die.
Yep. And that was cool. But I was expecting a big battle, and instead, cannonballs start flying, and Bill just gets shrapnel and dies.
And you said there was going to be this challenge. Like during the funeral for the dude, they walk by Bill. Leo goes up to him and says, I challenge you.
He just says challenge.
Challenge accepted. Okay, what does that mean? Then we have apparently this big formal meeting.
A council.
A council of all the gangs of New York.
That's the name of the movie.
They all come together and agree, okay, we're going to meet at this place, at this time, on this day, with these weapons.
Guns, bottles, knives,
no guns.
Chains.
No guns.
Pistols, excuse me.
No pistols, yes. But yeah, I wanted to know more about that. How did that come together? What are the logistics of getting all the gang leaders together?
I don't know. And it's something that Scorsese has definitely done before. You know, he's made plenty of mob movies.
Sure.
It's very formal. There's a lot of rules. This is the most order in this movie.
And they're very cordial to each other. Yes. Did you notice that?
Okay, that is one of the things I actually do love about this is the language that Bill uses.
Yep.
Like when he's threatening Leo, he says, I will festoon his bedchamber with his insides. Or something like festoon. Right. How many times have you ever used the word festoon?
Never.
And he uses big flowery language like that often in this movie. But they also show him where I don't think he can read very well. He can read.
Yeah, he can read, but not very well.
But he has to ask, like, what's that word?
Right.
What does that mean?
How do you say it?
Yeah, I don't know that word.
Yeah.
Because it's ghoul, which is a weird word.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of background on him. So Bill eventually sits down with Leo and kind of tells him, you know, the story about this is what got me famous. This is the thing that really cemented me in the community.
Put me on the map.
Sure. And he tells them about, you know, his history with the priest and his father. He also says, my own father died fighting for this country. He died in the War of 1812 against the British.
Yes, he did.
America's forgotten war. Nobody ever talks about the War of 1812.
No, they kind of skim over that one.
Yeah.
There was another war in there, guys.
We fought the British twice, guys.
Yeah. Luckily we won.
We won both times.
We did win.
Yeah. It was an interesting little thing that he threw in there of, you know, his nativist background.
If he is anything, he is a proud American.
Yeah.
And he has very negative feelings towards what he considers invaders.
Yeah. Any natural-born citizen of America is fine in his book, but anybody else, not so much.
Which, again, is a fascinating philosophical thing because nobody was born in America. Americans rarely have actually come from America.
Yeah, Americans as a concept is a fairly new thing to humanity.
Yes, we're fresh and young.
Yeah. So those ideas just kind of are fleeting, in my opinion.
Well, this is as we're recording this, we are just recently past the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Mm-hmm. And somebody threw out a comment. She reigned for 70 years. She was reigning and alive for a third of America's history.
Yeah.
She was alive.
Of our entire country, she has gone through however many presidents that she has met as the queen.
A lot.
Yeah. When you think about it in those relative terms, we are a very, very young nation.
Yes, we are. So these movies like this are interesting. I appreciate it for that history because it was the Wild West.
But
before the West
New
was
York
wild.
City.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really know a lot of history about New York in this time period.
No. Why would you? Like, you get the revolution, and then it just sort of becomes this lawless nation until the Civil War happens.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that all of New York was like this, but there were a lot of poor people coming into this country, and that was where they were coming in, and that was where they were staying.
Yeah, I mean, until the gold rush happened, and they mentioned it in this movie.
Yeah, they mentioned San Francisco.
Jenny wants to go to San Francisco because she saw, hey, these guys are just pulling gold out of the river with their bare hands.
It was true, though.
It was.
You literally could just show up and be like, hello, gold.
Yeah.
I also liked that she was showing him on the map how to get there, which involved taking a boat all the way around South America.
Because Panama Canal did not exist.
And neither did the Transcontinental Railroad.
Indeed.
We were about a few years too early. It was soon. It was very soon.
You could still
they were building it,
You could still get across the country, but it would take a hell of a long time, and it was a lot more treacherous than just taking a boat.
Yeah, I think the railroad was finished in like the 1870s.
Yeah.
That seems right. You can fact check me if you want. I don't have a clue.
I think the late 1800s is when the railroads really started to, I guess, be the main form of transportation across the country instead of just like, a fucking wagon train or whatever you want to call it.
It took days instead of weeks once they had the trains.
Exactly. But in the end, she doesn't even get to leave. Because
Right.
she was about to get on the boat, but other boats had cannons firing on the city, and
everything was chaos, and she was being attacked, and she's like shooting people trying to get them off her.
Right. I didn't even know how that happened. Like, what was that other woman doing?
I think it was just people trying to reap the benefits of chaos.
Okay.
They were trying to rob her. So speaking of Jenny, so that is Cameron Diaz's character.
Yeah.
On paper, Cameron Diaz is the odd person out to me in this movie. When I saw this in 2002, the thing I knew her from was fucking Charlie's Angels and The Mask.
I was going to say, The Mask was the thing that I know her from.
So when I saw her face on this poster, I was like, the fuck is she doing in this movie? Mm-hmm. And I think when I saw this the first time, I kind of still had those reservations about her in particular.
All right.
Because she's not really doing a whole lot of acting in those movies, or if she is, she's kind of an airhead. And so it bothered me, her being in this movie. This time around, didn't bother me as much.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I underestimate her acting ability.
I don't think she was really doing all that much in the movie. I don't think she was offensive at all.
I just mean, when I saw this before, I assumed she was going to be terrible.
Okay.
I don't think she was terrible. I still think she's kind of the odd person out, though.
I think she's also putting on an act for everything. Like, her entire shtick here is she's anything that these men want her to be.
Whatever she needs to be to survive.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I think when she's at her most vulnerable is when she's doing her best acting work.
True. I agree.
But overall, she's just kind of an empty vessel, but that's purposefully.
Yeah. To talk about some of the other actors, obviously this is a large group of what is supposed to be Irish Americans. Mm-hmm. And there are actual Irish actors in here, Brendan Gleeson being amongst them.
Yep.
And Liam Neeson. So the biggest guys, the biggest ones, the most important ones, those are real Irishmen.
Yeah.
But then you got, I don't know the character's name, but it's a guy who was in the movie Snatch, who is very British. And his Irish accent was...
Suspect.
And so was, in particular, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, and I think they maybe get around that because they say,
cheated a little bit.
I'm not from here. I didn't grow up with these people. I grew up around a whole lot of other people that were from a lot of different places.
And that's why I don't have an accent anymore. And I'm like, is this because Leo couldn't do it? Because he's a good actor. But if you think about his entire body of work, how often does he play somebody with an accent?
What was that movie where he was in South Africa?
Oh, Blood Diamond.
Yeah, I think Blood Diamond is the one I'm thinking of.
I don't know if it's in South Africa, but it is in Africa.
Yeah.
He's doing some kind of Afrikaans accent.
Yes.
So, yes, that one. But other than that, I can't really summon any in my brain.
No, nothing where it is something that he's really going for.
Yeah, I don't really consider Leonardo DiCaprio somebody who immediately comes to mind when I think of actors who like to do accents.
Oh, he did a Boston accent in The Departed.
Okay, a Boston accent is something else.
To a point.
I think you could do a Boston accent as an American a lot easier than a lot of Europeans doing a Boston accent. I think
agree,
that's harder.
But it's still an accent.
Okay, fine. My point is, his Irish accent is not very good.
It kind of floats in and out.
I don't know if that was because his character is written that way or they wrote it that way because he couldn't do it very well.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you got Daniel Day-Lewis out here who is very much not American, kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, and again, like I mentioned in the intro, his accent is at least consistent. The way he's talking is very nasally. It's way up here. Mm-hmm. And it's consistent throughout the entire movie. He's not slipping in and out. And of course, that's part of his method acting. He gets into the character all the way.
And he never gets out of it until he's done filming.
Yeah.
His dear wife has lived with all of these characters.
Right. Married to Abraham Lincoln, and then somebody who was going very much against him in a different movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing I had a thought about when it comes to Daniel Day-Lewis, he's very greasy and dirty in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Did he shower at all? If he's a method actor and he's in character, did his poor wife have to live with greasy Bill?
Oh, no.
Because he's wearing a hat most of the movie, and his hair is really just unpleasant to look at.
It also looks almost the same in every scene where he takes his hat off.
It has maintained its shape
through
many months of grease.
That could be just makeup.
He could be wearing
He's made
a
up
wig. He could be just wearing copious amounts of gel to make it look like that.
I'm thinking it's that.
The fact that
it's not hygienic to not shower, Betsy.
Okay, I just wouldn't put it past him. That's all I'm saying. This dude is a serious actor.
He is a serious actor, but he'll at least do, a sponge bath here and there, I'm sure.
Sponge bath Day-Lewis.
Oh, God.
To bring it back around, were there any other parts of this movie you wanted to talk about?
I mean, just a few little details here. I wanted to mention back when Bill was sitting down with Leo, he mentioned that he was 47 years old.
Yes.
In the 1860s, in the United States. Can you tell me the average life expectancy?
43?
No, not even 40 years old. It's like 39 and a half or something.
He was an old man, this man.
Seriously.
The average it wasn't unheard of to be very old.
Yeah.
Somebody like what John Adams lived to be fucking 90-some years old.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't unheard of, especially if you had access to actual medicine.
You mean you had money?
Yes.
If you had money and means.
Yes.
But you are right. The average, especially during a war, that would certainly drive the average down.
Definitely. But then again, you have all these people coming in from overseas to join your ranks, and they're all different ages. So I doubt a lot of the older folks were coming in from Ireland and wherever else.
No.
It's mainly the younger people that are being sent by their families to the New World.
Mm-hmm. All the people without children or with very young children.
Exactly. But yeah, the fact that he is 47, he's past the life expectancy. He has seen a lot of things. He's lived a full life, and he's still, I don't really know what his deal is. Is he just being a mob boss just to be a mob boss?
At this point, he's basically beat all the gangs.
Yeah.
There's still other gangs, but he is
beaten into submission.
Mm-hmm. He makes a metaphor about like the 5 points. He names the different streets and he says, they're all fingers and I can close my hand and
make
take
a fist.
and make a fist.
and I could take over any other part of the city, I'm sure.
Yeah, so he's just kind of consolidated all his power. And it is an interesting transition where they introduce the character. He is wearing like a leather cap and he's carrying his weapons and he's out for battle. And the next time we see him, he's wearing, a fine waistcoat and a long
proper
jacket.
Gentleman.
And he's, like a dandy with all his gang members. They've completely changed their look to fit his new role in the community.
Right. But yeah, he's even got the cops in his back pocket. There's this politician guy who he's talking to all the time because he can deliver things for them. Like, the politician was talking like, okay, yeah, your gang is going to be like my muscle in getting out the votes. Just like at the end of the movie when they're trying to bring all the Irish people in to vote, they're, like you said, they were telling people, hey, yeah, shave this guy's beard. He can come in and vote a couple of times. And Daniel Day-Lewis is going through all like the fucking opium dens.
Yep, kicking down the door saying, congratulations, you're an American and you get to vote today.
Right. God.
I mean, it's one way to get people to vote.
It's true.
Go vote, people. It's your civic duty. All right, I remembered something else I wanted to bring up about Daniel Day-Lewis in particular. Did you at all find it distracting at the beginning of the movie when he was talking about Abraham Lincoln?
You know, I mean, I know it's around the same time and it makes sense. So it wasn't distracting because I've seen that other movie.
It was years later.
Yeah.
And at the time, it would have meant nothing. But watching it now, not having seen this movie in a while, to hear him talk about Abraham Lincoln and saying crap about how he doesn't like him, and then he like throws a knife at a picture. It's just like, this is really weird.
It's really weird. It's not quite meta yet, but
it's not meant to be meta. It just exists in a world where Daniel Day-Lewis went on to play the president
and win an Oscar for playing him.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, remember when they sold a body?
They did that. That was a thing. Like, why waste it, Trent?
They give him a job to go rob a boat that was bringing in supplies, I guess.
That was going to be quarantined.
but by the time they got there, everybody on board was already murdered.
Yep. Another gang got there first.
Yeah.
They took all the stuff. They murdered all the crew. And left them nothing.
Yeah.
So they were not about to leave empty-handed.
And the guy that they took wasn't dead yet when they got there. He was holding this gun, a loaded gun, and it discharged as he was, like, falling dead.
Yes, he was
so
only...
a very fresh corpse.
He was only mostly dead.
Mostly dead. So yeah, they take his corpse, they throw it onto the boat, and say, that corpse is still good.
We need that. And they sell it to a guy. Who? It doesn't matter.
I know a guy.
He can use it for something.
And then, they put him in the paper, like the ghouls that are selling bodies to random people, and they're getting a name for themselves. And and Bill says, well, that's pretty impressive. You're doing something that's never been done before.
I love your creativity, boys.
Right. and speaking of dead bodies, we had a scene where Bill and Tweed were having a meeting, and Tweed says, you know what? We need to round up some people, 3 or 4 people, and have a hanging.
I think it's about time.
It's about time.
We need to have a uniting activity.
Right. To bring everybody together for a grand old public execution.
That was the entertainment of the day. We didn't have television. No one could read.
Yeah. So they rounded up 4 people. They put the hoods kind of on their neck as they're walking in chains. One of them talks to Bill, and
Bill's talking to all of them. He's like, thank you for your service.
Right.
Like shaking their hands.
Right.
Thanks for doing this today.
Right. We really like they came over to help you move a couch.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sees this guy has a locket around his neck. I'll give you $1 for that. What is he gonna do with $1?
It was my mother's. All right, $1.50.
$1.50. Why not?
And he takes it.
He takes it.
Why?
Just to give to...
You're going to the gallows.
Yeah.
What purpose does that serve?
And why are you negotiating?
It's a weird little sequence, but I think it's more... Like, you used to have to pay the hangman. You used to have to pay the executioner.
Sure.
So maybe that's where that money went.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it went to his family who was going to take his corpse afterwards, and they had some money on him.
But, like, they all got up there, and one of the dudes is like saying his last words, and he says, "Where's my boy? Where's my son?" And the son comes up and is like pushed up to the front. It's like, and I don't even remember what he said.
He gives some moving speech.
They put the hoods over their head, and down they go. And we all applaud!
Yay! I love a good hanging.
That was so disturbing to me.
It was life in those days, though.
God.
That was life. I don't know how to explain it. So if we're giving credit to this movie for anything, it is displaying how
what it was like.
Life was really unorganized and uncivil.
Yeah. So,
for a lot of people, at least.
It's true.
Well, Trent, do you have any other final thoughts before we start wrapping this one up?
I'll just repeat, the movie was kind of a mess. In the end, I do think it all made sense, but to get to that point and the ending that was depicted, man, I wanted it to be tighter.
I agree. The last third is where I'm like, why did we go this direction? I kind of wish it had gone a different way. It all was coherent enough that I understood it. It's just not what I wanted.
I was afraid at the beginning when Johnny was talking to Leo's character and like telling him about all the new gangs in the area. It's like, Jesus Christ, am I going to need to know all these names? But by the end, no, we don't. But it just kind of tells you, okay, this is all the, sub gangs that Bill has under his thumb, so to speak, anyway.
And there's so many, and they all have the dumbest names. It's just like
really do.
The sewer rats and the Bumby buggers and the
keep going.
The river watchers.
The river phoenixes.
And the river's phoenix.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of them.
But yeah, for a 2002 movie, I get, and I kind of hate that this is still in the movie. We had the ending sequence where we're kind of traveling through time, and this cemetery, like the shot is on this cemetery, and we're seeing out into the Isle of Manhattan, and the final shot is modern Manhattan with the Twin Towers. But the Twin Towers are still there at the very end.
Well, it's going through time, so it's like, okay, here's the 1860s and the 1880s.
Yeah.
And then you're right, this came out in 2002, so that doesn't contextually make sense, except that Martin Scorsese, this is his first movie after that event.
Yeah.
It's also possible it was in there and it couldn't be removed because the movie was done. Because because the movie came out in 2002 doesn't mean it wasn't made in 2001.
I fully believe that he kept it in there purposefully as a tribute. Yes.
Yeah, probably.
He would not have changed that.
Probably not. All right. Well, with that's going to be it for this one. We do have an email today. We have an email from Nicole. Titled, Hello, Betsy and Trent.
New emailer.
A new emailer. Hello, I'm Nicole. I started listening a few months ago and instantly became hooked.
Hey.
I couldn't consider myself a super fan until I listened to all the episodes. Mission accomplished.
Okay, let's just talk about one thing. You don't need to go and listen to all of our episodes to become a super fan. We will grant you the title of superfan, if you keep up and you listen to some of them and go backwards, and you don't need to do that.
If you make an effort and you let us know you're making an effort, that's enough. But my goodness, Nicole, we applaud you.
Yes, thank you. You are absolutely a superfan for just that. But Betsy, continue.
She continues, I really enjoyed the Manchurian Candidate episode. I've watched other versions, but have never seen the original. Your unique style of breaking down a movie is easy to follow.
Thank you.
I know Trent is not a fan of John Cusack. I've laughed a few times at his biting remarks about his acting skills. This is why I'm proposing something different.
Oh boy.
Are you ready for this, Trent?
Oh no.
I'm throwing out a suggestion for a lively and entertaining event that listeners will enjoy. A Cusackathon!
Okay.
Oh, I love that it comes with a built-in name. This is great. Despite Trent's obvious dislike, there are some really good Cusack movies out there. I won't bore you with my Cusack movie knowledge and also rob you of the delight of searching for your own selections. Sincerely, Superfan Nicole.
Why, thank you, Superfan Nicole. So I don't even remember what episode I talked about John Cusack.
I think you probably brought it up more than once.
I just think he's an annoying little shit, and I don't like him. I cannot give you a legitimate reason why I don't like him. I have seen precious few of his movies, and I think if I actually sat down to watch one that, if Betsy's seen it and she thinks that I would like it, I'll probably like it fine. But
you won't hate it.
I just won't. Yeah, I won't hate it anyway. But I just think he sucks.
You can't explain
It's an
it.
irrational reason.
It's
I
just-
don't care.
It just is what it is,
Yeah.
and you're unlikely to change your opinion.
Probably. I'm not going to say that he's on any other like higher level as like a Nicolas Cage or whoever, but yeah, a Cusackathon. I don't know if we would do a Cusackathon. He would definitely qualify because he's been around since the 80s.
Absolutely. He is somebody that we could do a movie for each decade. The ones from the more recent years, like Nicolas Cage, start to get pretty random and the quality is suspect, but it could be done.
He has very much gone the path of Nicolas Cage, but he hasn't climbed out of the pit yet.
Not
He
yet.
hasn't done anything good in the past, 10 to 15 years that's worth a damn?
I think there's probably some that have just not been successful. Like, I've heard of some movies that he's
Like
been
I said,
in,
worth a damn.
but that doesn't mean they aren't worth watching. They just haven't made millions upon millions of dollars.
And I'm not saying that. Like, Pig was not a huge success, but it was critically acclaimed. That's all I'm saying here.
Okay, just because you haven't heard of anything John Cusack has done doesn't mean it isn't a good
Well,
movie.
maybe Nicole can actually give us some suggestions for some newer John Cusack movies that we maybe haven't even heard of.
Well, I'm just gonna say that you're probably right. They're not good, but
But I have a counterpoint to your suggestion of a Cusackathon.
okay.
Something a little unique rather than, talking about one actor. How about two actors? There are two actors with the last name Cusack that we have covered. One of them we've covered on this show. How about Cusack versus Cusack?
Joan versus John.
Joan versus John, and whoever survives till the end wins.
We did talk about this last week where it's like you could actually do this with a lot of people because there's a lot of famous siblings. Gyllenhaal v. Gyllenhaal.
Oh, yeah.
You could do fathers and sons. Sheen v. Sheen.
Yeah, there's a whole ton
many
of
arrangements.
family squabbles we could get people into.
Oh, they're not even squabbles
No, I know.
necessarily, but we can make it a squabble.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we will certainly consider it. We have no shortage of movies at our disposal and series ideas that we would like to do. One day I am going to get you to watch some John Cusack simply for the purposes of tormenting you and your delicate sensibilities.
Make me say something good about John Cusack.
Or I'll just make you say something like cordial about John Cusack. Anyhow.
His jacket is nice. He put on nice pants. That's the cordial version.
His
of
hair
that.
looked good.
Yes.
Yes, we will find something that we can cover that involves him.
And again, I don't begrudge anybody who likes the man or anything that he does. This is just me.
This is just a Trent thing. But if you have opinions about John Cusack, or Trent's opinion about John Cusack, or anything you want to talk about as far as other actors you don't like, I have a friend who told me the other day she doesn't like Leonardo DiCaprio and, quote, his wee rat face.
She's not wrong when it comes to the rat face.
So there's lots of opinions to be had.
Okay, sorry. I need to pause for a second because that just blew my mind a little bit.
His wee
now
rat
that I look
face.
at it, he does have a rat face.
A wee rat face. To bring it back, if you like Gangs of New York or agree with Gangs of New York, or you want to talk about any of the decades we have already covered in this series,
or like Nicole, if you want to go back and listen to any of our 160, I think we hit 160, 160 plus episodes, email us about those too.
So do that. Email us at neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter, neverseenit_pod. We can also be found on Facebook and Instagram. That's neverseenitpod1. That's the number 1. We post pretty much every single day. So if you want to share that content, that's a way to make it really easy to do so. You can also support the show by clicking the link in the podcast description, and you can do that financially through Anchor. Or you could just be a cool person and listen to us as often, or like Nicole, every single episode.
I mean, we're not going to discourage you from doing that. Again, thank you, Nicole, for being dedicated to
and entered
all of our stuff.
And entered into the small group of super fans.
We have a case over here with a shrine for all of our super fans. I'm motioning to it now.
You have been entered into the analogs of history.
And keep listening. Thank you.
Thank you. But with that, that's going to be it for 2002. We've got 2 more episodes of our Decades series. We will be hitting 2012 on our next episode. So you can look forward to that one.
And what I said about different genres for every single decade here, this one's going to be very different.
Hard left,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen. But with that, I have been Betsy.
And I'm Trent.
And this has been Never Seen It. And thank you so much for listening.
Bye-bye.